maybe this is the fight where Lemieux can take a little bit more than the other guys did. I mean, I watched him fight the guy from I watched that fight and the one against the guy from Canada,
Butte.
Yes, and he ended up just running through him eventually because he could take his punches, and he throws everything he has with every punch that he has. There's no skill to it. There's no. Golovkin likes to do his so-called drama show, so maybe he'll get in there and let him land a few punches, and maybe it knocks a little bit of steam out of him, and he can find a way to pull it off. If not, I say Golovkin in maybe 6. I think Lemieux has a little more pride and can take a little more of a beating than some of these other guys can.
I have to salute the dude for stepping in the ring with him and looking forward to the fight and accepting the challenge. Because, like I said, it's a collection of guys up there anywhere from 154 to 168 who really don't feel like, who really haven't expressed an interest in stepping up to the Golovkin challenge. And I just really would like someone to do, and Lemieux might show us something. Is Golovkin for real? Is he just a big puncher that's been walking through, taxi cab drivers and volunteer firemen? And I'm like you. I don't know if Lemieux has an assortment of punches and different styles to go through. Like you said, he pretty much is as advertised. And but to your point, I think Golovkin is going to get hit. And it'll just be interesting to see whether Lemieux can either hit him with... And that's the thing. He doesn't throw punches in a way where you're not going to see it coming. You know what the guy's going to do. So, I don't know. I'm like you, man. I probably don't see it going past the 6th or 7th ultimately. And Triple G probably collects another win. But, if Andre Ward's not going to fight him... the Darrell brothers might not be up to the task. Peter Quillen is out there. Andy Lee. There's one person I'm missing. Who else? I just want to see somebody that wants to accept that challenge. DeGale's a name. George Grove fights tomorrow night. But and that's. Golovkin is kind of staying down at the middleweight just in case he can entice Floyd to get to 154, so he can cash out. So I don't know, man. We'll see. Moving on to this Cotto Alvarez, November 21st at Mandalay Bay in Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm on the fence in this one because I really don't. Alvarez taking care of Kirkland the way he did kind of made me look at him in a different light. I thought he would win that fight, but I didn't think he was going to batter Kirkland the way he does. There are a lot of concerns about Alvarez's conditioning, his stamina during fights. It looks like Cotto's game plan is to make him move a lot. But then Cotto is a 34-year-old guy. So that doesn't really bode well for him, later in the championship rounds if it makes it there. So Cotto, since he's gone up in weight and then he's at, this is at middleweight, I really don't like his power at middleweight despite the fact that he was successful against Maravilla. I just don't know what to say here. It is, the traditional Mexico versus Puerto Rico battle. And I think the fight fans are gonna win, but Roach is predicting a KO for his opponent. For his fighter.
I look forward to it. I think it's a big fight. I actually think the winner of that fight is probably going to be who Golovkin has the best chance of getting a fight against. I think that I always go back to Cotto when he fought Mosley and how Mosley said he's a lot slicker and a lot more crafty than he looks. And I actually thought against Floyd he had some moments where he actually looked like he really was beating Floyd in some of the different exchanges.
I really thought Cotto made it hard for us to get to where we're going to get tomorrow night. I really didn't see Floyd completing his contract after the Cotto fight, just personally.
So I don't... I'm on the fence about Alvarez. A couple of his fights I watched, he was gifted some victories real quick because people turtled up.
Oh, yeah.
A couple of his fights, against guys that he should have blew through, and I thought he just kind of Kirkland, I mean, it was a perfect punch early in the fight. It was over. So I don't know. I think Alvarez has a lot more to prove than Cotto does. But if Cotto gets the victory, I think he kind of can call out what he wants. So that's pretty much what I expect to see in this fight. I actually think Cotto, if he comes out and if Alvarez isn't as advertised, I think Cotto gets another victory over a big name opponent.
Do you think that that's the right strategy, though? If Cotto's going to try to use movement and make, and just, I don't never like a fighter. I mean, I know what's his name was pretty successful, Peterson against Swift, Garcia, with coming out and movement being your game versus, punching.
I think that it's funny because every time I've thought Cotto should fight one way, he comes out, he fights another way. It seems with Freddie Roach as his coach and his trainer, he's been much more of an in-your-face, much more moving forward, moving to the side, not as much backing up. He does a lot more hooking. He's gone back to the body a lot again. And I kind of feel like that's the same guy we're going to see against Alvarez. And that's where I said Alvarez has to show everybody that what he did to Kirkland, that's who he is.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't, then I think Cotto will just... One thing about Alvarez, it seems like when fights get tough, he's the same. He kind of goes into this defensive, tries to become a counter puncher, and he kind of lessens his risk. And if he does that against Cotto, then I think he'll lose, and Cotto will look great. And like I said, he'll move on to fight whoever he wants, including maybe start talking about a Mayweather shot again. So I don't know.
Alvarez will enjoy a height advantage 2 inches taller than Cotto, and he is 9 years younger, 25. Almost as many fights, more fights than Cotto at this point in his career. That's a tough one to call, man, and I'm weary of Cotto's power. Even though Alvarez is coming up from junior middle. We'll come back to this one before it, but like you said, Alvarez just has to convince me who he is. I think one of those turtle calls that he got was Angulo, right?
Angulo, and then there was, I feel like it was one of those guys from the Contender. One of his very first fights.
Gomez?
Yes, Alfonso Gomez. Yeah. Same situation.
Yeah.
Gomez got in the corner and he threw about 8 or 9 punches and Gomez just turtled up and the ref stopped it. So I was like, I wasn't too impressed.
We'll come back to this one, but like I said, that's 2 great fights right there. So, once again, this is Pay Me No Mind, the Wood Brothers Boxing Barrage. We're getting ready to get into this Mayweather-Berto showdown, September 12th. Before we get into that, though, a little off topic. Who do you think? Who would you like to see Manny come back and face? There's a lot of names being thrown around. There's a lot of people, getting some feelers out there. Actually, if you've been paying attention, it came out today that Floyd Mayweather received some IV saline and multivitamins before the fight, but the being granted to do that according to the USADA protocol and whatnot, he was granted that exemption like 18 days after the fight. So now that's kind of created a cloud over this whole thing, and right now, we're pulled back into arguing Mayweather
and I honestly
Manny.
feel like that's exactly what that was. I feel like that's leaked? Exactly what that. Yeah, absolutely. All this time and all the different talk of all the different things going on. And here it is, now that he's supposed to fight Berto, who people have... And I'm going to tell you the truth. I don't think Berto...
Well, don't give it away. Don't give it... Don't give it away just yet.
In regards to Pacquiao, I think Pacquiao should play it safe, heal, maybe come back if there is really an interest in Floyd, and if that talk is really taking place, you take a fight that has no risk at all. Just to get back in the ring and get your shoulder and get faith in your shoulder. If that's not in the works, there's only a handful of fights out there. You go ahead and you knock Khan off just because he's been talking about you and Floyd in the same. If not there, you go ahead and you do the Desert Storm again because everybody knows you need to avenge that one of the most controversial decisions in boxing history. And
he got the win over. They did the rematch. They did the rematch already.
Timothy Bradley?
Yeah, they did the rematch.
I'm thinking he lost the second one, but so that's okay. So the second one, Timothy Bradley, he beat him.
Yeah, he whipped him.
Okay, I thought that was the second one, that he was the one where he lost. My apologies, I got mixed up. And then you have Kell Brock, who's been calling out any and everybody that he can call out. So I don't know. I feel like
what about Garcia? Some people have thrown Garcia and Bud Crawford have been thrown out there.
If you're gonna go against Crawford at 140, I like it. If you're gonna go down to 140 and fight, I'll hope that Crawford sincerely stays in 140 and does some work and spends some time at 140. Garcia, yes, he won against Malignaggi, but I don't know if you win much by beating Garcia. You lose a lot if you lose to Garcia. So I don't know.
Okay. I thought the Garcia fight, and you can welcome my black lab to the show, Apollo. You can hear him in the background tearing his water up right now, which is very boxing like, getting some fluids in between rounds. But I would just say stay away from Bud Crawford because of the age difference. And I think Bud is adaptable to a lot of different styles. Kind of in the same sense of Andre Ward. And I just don't think that's the risk that you need to take right now. I don't want to go into my next point. So I'll come back to who I think he should fight. Mayweather Berto goes down tomorrow. MGM Grand, I think the MGM Gardens is what they call it, Las Vegas, Nevada. We talked about this one before. We didn't hit it up too in depth. What's your
man? Real short. Berto, if he doesn't do something in round 1 through 3, Mayweather by landslide decision. I don't think Mayweather is going. Berto been in there with some pretty tough guys. He's been in there with some hard hitters, and not saying that Berto has a skill set that can give him a W, but I'm not going to say that he can't potentially land a haymaker in the first 2 rounds.
Can he duplicate Sugar Shane's early shot and stagger?
Absolutely. I mean, in them first 2-3 rounds, Berto in his prime was as fast as anybody you've seen in boxing. He had power. He was always small though. Really good counter punching. Really good at hitting in close. And Floyd gonna do the shoulder. He gonna be in close. If the speed is right, the angle is right, and he lands. I'm not gonna say Floyd, his chin is questionable, but Manny hit him with a shot and it looked like his legs kind of buckled. Mosley hit him with a clean shot, his legs buckled. Zab Judah landed a couple shots on him at different points in their fight. The only consistency in all those fighters is they had hand speed. So if Berto can land this with the speed and the power he has, maybe in the first 2-3 rounds, he got a shot. We can get past round 3. I'm go to sleep. It's over. 49-0.
Do you think that? I think that Floyd, and I've said a couple of fights that Floyd might actually go for the fictional knockout because that's not even part of it. Is your belief? I mean, well, that's what I'm getting at. Is it a chance here that Floyd, because of the sales, the poor ticket sales, and the projection of the pay-per-view, you probably don't have a lot of early buys. Do you think Floyd will kind of be forced into, I can't lay back this fight. I got to go out here and force the issue? Because I'm pretty sure that Berto is going to go for his shot. So I think he's going to be presenting pressure. And then, like I said, do you think it creeps into the back of Mayweather's mind, like, I really got to sell this and let me go out here and go for the knockout? And really quickly, Tim Bradley won in it looks like June of 2012, and then they had part 2 in April of 2014. And Manny was successful. He won It was like he won 116, 112, 118,